We're talking about why your hard-earned money suddenly feels like it's literally just vanishing into thin air. And more importantly, exactly how you've got to shift your mental framework to survive this huge economic shift. Let's get right into it.
All right, so let's dive into the core problem here. You know the drill. We're all feeling the squeeze of global inflation right now, right? You're checking your grocery bills, seeing the prices of everyday basics just shooting up. But here's the kicker. The real issue might not actually be the objective economy out there. It might be happening deep inside your own subconscious.
100,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. Remember when earning 100 grand felt like the absolute peak of comfortable middle-class stability? Honestly, in the pre-pandemic era, which really was just a few years ago, this was the goal. Hitting that number meant you made it. You were safe. You could live a genuinely comfortable life without stressing over every single penny.
Well, hit with our entirely new economic reality, you now need up to $300,000 just to maintain that exact same lifestyle you had before. And listen, I want to be super clear here. This isn't about suddenly going out and buying a yacht or upgrading to some crazy mansion. No. This is the new baseline. It's not a luxury. If your old 100 grand now only lasts you, 2 weeks? This new figure is literally what's required just to keep your life exactly as it was.
Section 1. Hidden Mindsets of Our Brain.
So the crucial point here is figuring out why our brains are just actively fighting against this new mathematical normal. Why do we resist it so hard? Well, the source material introduces this really fascinating concept called a latent mindset. Now think of it kind of like a dormant computer program running super quietly in the background of your brain. It just sits there, completely inactive, doing nothing, until specific, really stressful life conditions trigger it to boot up. So, for example, a subconscious fear of being alone might not actually affect someone until they, say, go through a divorce. Before that, everything felt totally fine. And it turns out our relationship with money operates exactly the same way.
Section 2. The New Economic Reality.
And that brings us right into the new economic reality we're all dealing with right now. Because we aren't just facing one little bump in the road. Massive global changes are happening all at once. We're talking rampant inflation, massive job cuts across global industries, and these huge technological leaps in AI that are just disrupting the entire workforce. And historically speaking, big technological leaps, they always come with severe crises. So all of these high-stress events are simultaneously triggering those dormant, latent mindsets in all of us. As the source notes, that old $100,000, it isn't the comfortable middle class anymore. In a lot of places, it's practically the baseline survival minimum for a family today. To actually stay in the middle class, you have to jump to $250,000 or even $300,000. It's a completely different category of income, which naturally means it requires an entirely different mindset to achieve and to even accept.
Section 3. Your financial corridor. Okay, so to understand why we feel so stuck trying to adapt to this new normal, we have to look at another super powerful psychological framework that's holding us back. What exactly is a financial corridor? Basically, these are the rigid internal boundaries of your spending and earning. Every single one of us has one. It features a strict floor, a baseline quality of life, clothing, or food that you absolutely refuse to drop below. But, and here's the catch, it also has a strict ceiling. That's an absolute maximum amount you're willing to spend on, say, a hotel, a car, or even an upper limit on what you genuinely believe you can earn. We all exist comfortably right between these two invisible lines.
To put it in everyday terms, a person who normally shops at a premium high-end supermarket isn't going to suddenly start buying their groceries at a deep discount budget store while driving a fully loaded top-tier Mercedes, right? It just doesn't happen. Our brains keep us locked right in our specific, comfortable zone. We actually build these corridors ourselves because we feel incredibly safe inside them. It's basically our internal coordinate system.
Section 4. Subconscious versus reality.
But what happens when the real world changes, prices go way up, but your internal corridor stays exactly the same? Read this quote with me. If the mindset doesn't match reality, our brain pushes reality away. It is a defense mechanism, otherwise we wouldn't survive as a species. Guys, this is incredibly profound. Your subconscious is literally rejecting the new, higher prices in the economy. Admitting you now need $300,000 feels like some impossible, crazy ambition that belongs to somebody else, rather than a basic necessity for you. So what does your brain do? It just goes into autopilot and completely denies the reality of the situation.
This new financial baseline isn't you being greedy or suddenly setting massive, unattainable goals. It's literally an objective requirement to maintain the life you already have. But because you've always viewed earning that much as an ambition for the distant future, your brain is actively trying to ignore the math that proves it's actually a day-to-day necessity now.
Section 5. Time to change the paradigm.
Because your financial corridor doesn't just magically widen naturally on its own, you can't just wait this out. You have to actively shift your corridor upward to survive. It's time to completely change the paradigm. So that brings us to the ultimate question. As this economic storm eventually settles, and history tells us it always does, where exactly are you going to be? Are you going to let your outdated latent mindsets and rigid financial corridor pull your entire lifestyle down? Or will you actively rewrite your internal coordinates, fully embrace the new reality, shift your corridor upward, and actually thrive in this new economy? It's a huge shift, but the choice is entirely yours to make.